This is LTV.
Inside Leominster is brought to you in part through the generous support of N.P. Crowley Company Incorporated and by DeCarolis Insurance Agency Incorporated, DeCarolisinsuranceagency.com, and by Enterprise Bank. Enterprise Bank creates success. EnterpriseBanking.com.
Hello and welcome to Inside Leominster. My name is Dean Mazzarella. I'm the mayor for the city. And if you're just joining us for the first time, each and every week, after I leave or a couple days later, I'll get an email or something that says, hey, I caught you. I used to live in town, and I caught you on cable, on TV. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, what's that all about? And I'm like, yeah, we do this every Thursday. And we started as just a call-in show, bring information to you, update you on things. But actually, the show's become more important, not because of me, but just more important because there is really a newspaper still, but it's not what it used to be. And I was talking to some of the reporters today that used to work for the Sentinel and the Telegram, and we were saying how, you know, they covered all the meetings in the city. And now Access Television has become more important because they cover all the meetings. And we bring you news and information. And I know the newspapers try their hardest. It's not like they don't try. They still try, you know, they do an editorial and they do the horoscopes and provide news and they'll actually do more, probably less news, but more community stories, I would say. And they try really hard, and everybody that works there are wonderful people. But I think people rely more on us because we're weekly and we can kind of update you as to what's happening in the city. So tonight, purposely, we don't have any guests. I decided if anybody wants to talk about whatever you want to talk about, you have questions about anything. I know one thing. There are plenty of questions on social media. I don't know why people don't call here and just ask the question, because you don't have to actually ask the question on the air. Someone will take your question out back. You don't even have to tell them who you are and read the question. They'll just read it to me, and then I'll answer it for you. So, yeah, that's kind of the best way to wrap it up. And that's what we do here on Thursdays. We oftentimes have, we try to make it fun. So this isn't like boring for you. We try to keep it, you know, even when we have guests, we try to make it fun for them. And so we can have fun and get the information out, right? And, but you could call us at 978-534-1626. Ask us about anything that's happening inside Leominster. And that was the whole purpose of the show. So tonight is the same. I don't care what it is. I can't say that. I mean, since February, everywhere I go, in my office, I would say some days it's 50% of our day answering questions about this, you know, this proposed racetrack, fairgrounds, whatever. And it is gobbled up a lot of our time. And I said from the very first time we met that I would be there to get information to people so they could, you know, they could make up their mind with the information. And disappointment sometimes. There's a Facebook page or something out there that's out there, and it's Michael Preston. There's no Michael Preston. We actually often, when we thought there might be a Michael Preston, who's the head of this page, that there was actually a Michael Preston, and we found out later there isn't one. So you can't say, hey, we're putting this you can't have a Facebook. I guess you can, but you can't have a Facebook page opposing something, saying, oh, these people aren't being transparent, when the person that's behind and is the person that puts all the information on the Facebook page is not a real person. He can't be found anywhere, nowhere. So that leaves that person the liberty to say whatever they want, because how do you respond? That there's no person. So you just make things up. And I think it was here we talked about the landfill. And he completely twisted it all around, everything that I said, and said it differently. And what I said is, we did some work on Mechanic Street, and when they dug to put in a water line or whatever it was, sewer line, drain line, what a gas line, it caused some of the methane to migrate to some of the homes. So we put in monitors, and then we realized, it was almost like they put a piece of tinfoil on it, and it was all kind of held together. So in the past, it was our administration that actually capped the landfill. And I also said that when we capped it, we did a survey first. And what we found is, in the old days, they would say, hey, where's the city property end? Oh, see that pipe sticking around down in the ground? Yeah, we own all the way up to there. What we found out is, we filled other people's property. We filled other people's property. So we had to dig it out and haul it off. We hauled it away. We had to call DEP and say, hey, we got to remove all this stuff because we put it on other people's property. And they're like, okay, we got to put a plan together. We put a plan together. It came down, removed it, and then we capped it. But before that, we made sure. So we were on two different sides of the landfill that we filled other people's property. And we cleaned those properties up completely. I forget, I want to say it was like $1 million something to clean up the properties. And we did. It was the right thing to do. We had no right to do that. I wasn't here. I'm not blaming it on anybody. It's how they did it. It's that post over there. So somehow or other, this person took all this stuff, and he's got nothing, no documentation on anything, nothing, and just says it. And so people read that stuff, and they think that stuff's true. So we build a gas collection system. Now, I challenge anybody to tell me I'm wrong about this, because I was in the middle of all this stuff. And these consultants come to me and say, hey, listen, we've got to build a gas collection system because, everybody, got all this gas coming out of there, and we got to build a gas collection. We'll be able to spend all this money, build a gas collection system. The next thing is, there's not enough methane gas coming out of the landfill. There's not enough methane gas coming out of the landfill to run the flare. I'm like, well, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, it's not running. So they actually ran natural gas over to the flare until we could upgrade the system so it could catch, store, and then burn off. Flare is over by the treatment plant. I know that because I was involved with it, because I was in the middle of all this. That was during my administration. So yes, we built a gas collection system to collect. In fact, we had a company come down even before all this, and I said, hey, I'd like to build a gas collection system that produces energy. And he's like, yeah, this is what we do for work. I said, yeah, I know some people. You did Lowell or Nashua or whatever. They came down and said, not enough methane in this. Did some tests, and they said, not enough methane. I said, well, other people say there is. And we're going to have all this methane gas in there. And they're like, okay, well, there's not enough. We're out. And then we find out there's not the methane that we thought was in the landfill. So that brings us to, okay, what do we do with the landfill? And anyway, so you can't say, well, we're being transparent, and then have a page that's done by a fictitious person who's putting up information that nobody can document, just twisting everything everybody says. It's more important that people get the right information. Now, in the host agreement, this worked the same way with marijuana facilities. Whether I agree with this stuff or not, these people have a right to come in, and we actually have in the city, by law, you have to have an area for adult entertainment. Well, this is a zone for adult entertainment. Does that mean that's what I want or anybody wants? No, but it's there. We have a host agreement for the casinos. Remember the whole thing? I think it passed referendum 63 or 65%. It passed. So what a host agreement means is, and this should all have been explained to everybody. They first came to town in February. We're just getting to the city council now. This is way too late. Too much time has gone by. There's so much misinformation spread around the community. That's not good government. It's not good government. We should have been having a discussion on the facts, and you vote, and you support, and you advocate any way you want. But I think some people are against it who are finding out the true information, are like, well, I didn't know that. I'm still against it, but I didn't know that. And I have many of those kinds of conversations with people. And the host agreement is negotiated by the chief elected officer, because that could be a city manager, it could be the city council in some places. In Leominster, it's the mayor. So what it means is that you negotiate this before the project is approved or disapproved or whatever. That way, everybody in the community knows. So when we were working on the casino, I negotiated a host agreement, and the host agreement was, this is what the city gets. This is what the city gets if this project's approved. That's what it means. So that's the responsibility of the chief elected officer. That's in this case, it's my responsibility to negotiate something. In other communities, it might be different. In Worcester, it might be the city council. It's not the mayor. It might be the city council. It might be the city manager to negotiate a host agreement. Councilor Zephyr said after the casino, when we brought the host agreement to the city council, when it was the casino, she said, you know, it's too bad the mayor negotiated this, because I think the council would have had some good input. We might have some great ideas. So this time I said, well, all right, well, last time they kind of wanted to hang, you know, let me hang some Christmas bulbs or Christmas decorations on the tree. You know, the mayor gets to do it, let me do it. I'm like, okay, last time they were a little bit upset, go ahead, send it to them. So they send them a host agreement and said, hey, is there anything you want to add to this? This is basically a start that, you know, the mayor did. Is there anything you want to do? Silence, nothing, absolutely nothing. And if I'm wrong about any of this, 978-534-1626. It's my responsibility to fill you in on this stuff. So the host agreement, so nothing. So then finally I'm like, well, before you guys vote on this thing, the public has a right to understand what's in the host agreement. And if you're not going to do it by May 17th or whatever it is, I'm going to take it back and negotiate the rest of it. So at least I can put it out there to show people, if this thing passes, this is what will be in it. Let's back up. When they first came to see me, I said, time out, first thing you need to do, I know it's a conceptual, go talk to the neighbors, they're the people who have to live with this. So they printed 200 invitations, and before they did, they sent a copy of the invitation. There was only one person that had those invitations in hand. They sent it to the city council. Within minutes, this thing turned from the neighbors to everywhere. And immediately, this thing just, so we have this forum at Francis Drake. It went terribly bad. It wasn't a, hey, this is conceptual, this is what we want to do. It turned very bad. And it was on my advice to say, hey, you know, just conceptually wise, go introduce yourself. This is what we're working on. This is how much information we have as it is now. So that went out everywhere. We had people from out of town, out of state, all over the place come into this meeting when it was really intended for the neighbors. And even if it didn't go good with the neighbors, it was for the neighbors. And so that was at my request. And anytime we're doing a project, I'm always, hey, you know, let's meet with the neighbors. Whatever we're doing, right? Let's meet with the neighbors. Let's let them know firsthand what it is that, you know, we'd like to do. And we did the same thing with the casino. We let, whether industrial, commercial, residential, condos, we let everybody know what it was that we were trying to do down here. We're like, hey, just so you know, there's a group that wants to do a casino down here, and we let everybody know. That's every project we do. I don't care if we're shutting the water off on the street for half a day. We're out there with leaflets, and we leaflet the whole entire neighborhood and let people know, hey, we're shutting your water off tomorrow or Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever day it might be, and letting you know in advance so that you could prepare. But here's what's going on. And we'll do the same thing with Moosonok Brook. We're going to have to do a big project down there. We'll let all the neighbors know, everybody know. We're going to do a project down there. It's going to affect parking, and we don't want it to hurt your business, but it's going to start in September, and we'll be meeting with those various groups to show them the plan, what the construction plan is, where the equipment's going to be, all of that. That's always our MO, and that's exactly how we do things. It's how we did Route 13. It's how we did Route 12. It's how we did Central Street. It's always the way that we operate. So the host agreement, didn't hear anything with the council, sent one last letter. If I don't hear from you by a certain time, just pulling it back. And then I negotiated the rest of it. So let me see if I can find it. I don't always have great, see if we can find it. Let me see if I could point out a couple of things that are in there. And just so you know, and this isn't to try to sway anything, this is just, you should know, right? Annual community impact fee. obviously, look at taxes. On an annual anniversary of the commencement of the operations, the sports bar in the Crossroads property, sports bar opening until earlier to occur in the termination of the agreement, the annual community impact fee shall be the difference between the city taxes and $300,000. So if the city taxes are, $900,000, then the difference is $300,000. Let's see, on each annual anniversary of the operations of the thoroughbred horse track racing, and until the termination of the thing between the city's taxes and fees, you get $900,000. And then we have like 0.5%. So then we have like escalators in there. So the better that they do, the better we do, right? And those are in there. Let's see, what else? We put $300,000. We don't have all the money for the new school. We may later, but we don't right now. We have most of it, but there's definitely a deficiency as we speak now. So I put in there that if this was to pass, that's if. That's what the host agreement is. It's not a deal. It's, hey, if this thing passes, this is what the city will get. So in there is $300,000 a year that would go to the school. That's $300,000 the taxpayer doesn't have to pay, and we don't have to raise taxes to do it. And we still might not have to, but still, that's $300,000. If we don't use it for that, we use it for something else. I think we put in there, let's see, $250,000 to support the city's efforts to provide tax relief to the elderly, disabled, and veterans benefits. So say that $300,000, we don't need it for the new school. We could add that to $250,000 to make it $550,000. That $550,000 would be there to help elderly, disabled, and veterans to keep their taxes low. Because this has not been a, houses may have gone up and the values may have gone up and tax bills have gone up and the sale of a house goes up, but that doesn't change something for somebody that's on Social Security that retired 20 years ago that's trying to stay in their home. So that could have been added to that. We also have $100,000 that we have in there, that we have in there to go to groups like veterans groups. The Pop Warner or the Lassie League and these different groups, there are more and more of them all the time who are, always trying to raise money privately to help maintain the fields, buy uniforms, whatever it might be. So it's a baseline of $1.3 million, and then it's got accelerators in it to go up, right? So they do better, we do better. So and if anybody wants a copy of it, we can email it to you. It's not a problem. So that's it, and you can go through the details. I mean, the city council has it. You can ask them for a copy. The clerk's office have it. We have it. We can send electronic email, leominster-ma.gov, or you can go to D. Mazzarella at leominster-ma.gov. 978-534-1626. Also in there says that the city has a right to hire its own independent people to evaluate the project. So, and we've done that in the past. We have the right to do that, and again, we could have already done that. You don't have to have something before you can act on it. We could have already asked. It's in the host agreement, and it's been in the host agreement. City councils had that. They could have said, hey, let's move along. Let's just get let's get a peer review on this thing. Let's look at traffic. It still has to go to a MEPA review, which is the state, and that's a combination of all the different city agencies are going to look at this project. So that, I think, addresses that piece. Then the traffic. So also in the host agreement, it says traffic is not to enter or exit Mechanic Street, Old Mechanic Street. Up by Gold Farm, that section of it, from Fidelity Bank on, that whole area, they have to go up to the connector and they have to pay for it. It also says that they take the responsibility over for anything that happens in that landfill for 99 years at their expense. It also says that right now we're paying to monitor it. It's $100,000 a year. That's their responsibility. It becomes their responsibility. If they walk away from the project, there's a bond in there. It says that they have to post a bond. And if it's a $30 million project and they walk away from it halfway through it, and there's $15 million worth of work left to be done on it to do landscaping or encapsulate it or whatever is left, environmental stuff, it's in the bond, so they have to post a bond. So that's all in the host agreement. And again, if you want to read it for yourself, give us a call at City Hall, 534-7500, extension 0. We'd be glad to share it with you. And so that's the essence of what's in there. It turns all of the responsibility over to them, turns all the monitoring over to them. It makes them have to share any profits that they make with us. It puts them, it requires them to give us certain payouts in certain areas. And again, if the school doesn't need the money, that $300,000, we could put it anywhere, but we could also put it to reduce people's real estate taxes. And I see that as, you know, needs always change, right? School overcrowding was a big issue before. Crime was a big issue before. Things change. I think one of the biggest issues right now is people that retired or people trying to struggle to stay in their homes because real estate taxes, clearly, property values have gone up, so has tax bills. So yeah, if your house is, you paid $100,000 for your house and it's worth $4,000, well, that's great if you're selling your house. But where are you going to go, and how do you try to stay in your house when property tax has gone up along with it, right? So your house used to be $2,000, then it was $4,000, and it was, you know, $5,000 and $6,000 now. And I hear it all the time. Elderly want to stay in their house as long as they possibly can. They don't want to move. They don't want to be in assisted living. Some people do, some don't. They don't want to live somewhere else. They don't want to sell their going to car. They just want to stay in their house. And I see that as one of the biggest issues right now is keeping retired and elderly in their home and trying to find mechanisms to keep their tax bills down. And that goes for elderly, disabled. We actually have an elderly and disabled and veterans relief fund, which people donate to. And every year we give out money to try to provide some relief. And there are certain exemptions for veterans and seniors. But again, it's still a struggle. So that's like priority one right now, is to find other mechanisms that we can do to keep people in their homes so that they can, you know, afford to live in their homes. And you know, while expenses, yeah, it's great. You know, my house went from $200,000 to $400,000, but I'm not selling it. So that's really not. And I don't want to go somewhere. I don't live in an apartment house. I want to live in a condo. I don't want to live in Florida. I don't want to live in. I want to live in my house. And to me, that's a big issue. So people, this is a mechanism. I said from the beginning, I'm not a gambling guy. I've been to the casino. I've walked by every single machine. Walked into the event room where some event was going on for somebody being recognized for something. Walked right out the door. Walked by every machine. So I'm not the betting guy. Not my cup of tea. But I know, and I've heard from hundreds that say, you know what, for entertainment, if I want to watch a horse thing, and I want $50, people go to the casino, they bring $200 with them, $200 is gone, they're done. Yes, there are people who can't control themselves around alcohol, that's their vice, they get drugs, it's gambling, and I get it all, totally. I've had families call me and say, we've had an addiction problem in the house, and it almost cost us our house, almost cost us our life savings, our 401. I don't want to see it. I get it. I live across the street. I don't want this here. Oh, by the way, I also negotiated in there that there'll be no, that there'll be no lights. They're not going to like have concerts. There'll be no amplification, sound. There's going to be no lights. None of that. So there'll be minimal impact. They're going to race twice a year. Twice a year. That's it. Races are over. So then people say, well, they're going to turn it into a fairground. They're going to have this. That was because, again, I said to them, well, what are you going to do the rest of the year? And I know how badly we need, you know, practice space for various sports. What are you going to do with it? And they're like, no, nothing. We're going to mow lawn and keep it up. And I'm like, wow, there's so many different things we could do with that property that would be beneficial to kids. And, you know, equestrian programs and therapy programs that we can do. And I know about so many of those things, and I'm thinking the list is so long of things that we can do. And we're not bringing in concerts. And I'm just thinking of all the things. And then, well, they're going to pull away all the stuff that happens downtown. No, it would be in addition to what happens downtown. And we haven't even said what we're going to. Those are just some ideas. We're just circulating some ideas. So then we go back to the question that I get answered the most. What happened? What do you mean what happened? There's a sign down there saying, hey, 30 acres. Well, we have certainly looked at it for solar. And I know that Concord was the first community along Route 2 that put solar on the landfill. I know that where the golf area was down there, Sterling Golf or whatever they call it, Lancaster Golf, I know at first everybody was like, wow, that's really cool, they put all this solar. And now the number one thing that I hear is, what a terrible use of land to put all those solar panels down there. They couldn't have done that somewhere else. That's the number one thing I hear. And if you put them on there, you're in for 20 years minimum, and that's it. You got solar panels. And then I think the other, not frustrating, but just it makes you scratch your head is, a lot of the same people against this project were for us putting parks there, for putting parks. They were willing to sign off on grants so that we could put parks there. You know, trails and parks and maybe some fields and that kind of thing. And now it's a health hazard to be on the landfill. Fine, that's okay, but that's something you should know. That's something people should know. The other part of this is, and I get asked this all the time, is I thought we were going to put baseball fields down there. I'm like, yeah. Well, how come the same people that were for baseball fields are against this? And they said, well, I don't know. I mean, that's something you got to ask them, because some may remember there was a proposal to put 3 baseball fields there. And I'm going to show the video because I don't have it here tonight. You guys actually have it. It's the video of the city council meeting when Rick Smith makes a presentation, I think with his son, to the city council, and completely different. We're building 3 fields, nothing about the weight of the landfill pushing down on anything, nothing about even lights. In fact, you'll see, you can see it for yourself, oh, we can have concerts here, we can do this here, we can. So we went from 3 fields, minimum of 35 games a year, and if they end up winning any of the series at all and there are playoffs, they'd be there. Lights, because they're going to have a lot of those games would be at night. All of the very things that were okay before, and that is confusing to people who even are against it, who say, well, I thought they were going to put. And then the last thing is, if this isn't going to pass, then what's going to go there? So nothing's going to go there, like forever. And what a missed opportunity. So then we've had discussions on this show before about people that have come through. So we've had other people come through who want to build these indoor domes, sports facilities. If you want to check, Lancaster Soccer. Let's see, I think it was Memorial Day weekend, I might be wrong. I think there were 5,000 cars that went in and out of there. I could be wrong, it could have been 5,000 people. There's one entrance, it's right after the Honda dealership and before Toyota. There's one little driveway that goes in there, one. One, I think, day it was 4,000, the other day it was 5,000. Go up there, take a ride up there and look at all the parking lots that are up there. And that's in and out all day, because not everybody stays there, in and out. And that's right at the end of Mechanic Street. It literally is at the end of Mechanic Street. That's a fact. That's what was going to happen. So the baseball fields got the support of everybody right away. It's like, oh no, this is great. This is in a totally different project, much, as far as I'm concerned, much more of a negative impact to the neighborhood than it was. Those are the facts. If I'm wrong, 978-534-1626. It's in the hands of the council right now. It's $1.3 million that the city would get. The host agreement is there for you to look at. It's there. It's an opportunity, whether people think it's a good one or a bad one. I know I've heard from a lot more people who are for it than against it. And that's what I say. In our office, no matter where I go, wherever I speak, no matter if I'm at a church, or if I'm at whatever event it is, people want to talk about it. It's the thing. I'm the person that's out there all of the time, all the time. The people that are developers, Jim Whitney's a developer. He's out there all the time. But I'm the political figure that's out there all the time. And so I try to funnel people to the right sources to get the right information. And if you're still in opposition of it, then that's fine. But I'm still talking to people about the traffic that's going to come out of the connector, and people thinking, you can't get through there. now. And I'm like, well, I don't know. It's signalized, and they're going to redo the intersection. I was down in Plainville. I went down there on the day of the Kentucky Derby just to watch, because people go there because off-track braiding or whatever they make. I don't know. I don't know what all this stuff is. And it's like, I don't know, what time did the Kentucky Derby start? Was it like 10 or 6 or 6 o'clock? I was there quarter of, just sitting there watching, and there was no big traffic problem. Last minute people trying to get in, obviously. They really living around the corner, thought they were going to just, show up. But other than that, the place was packed, and no big problems. There was no cops directing traffic. It was all signalized. So I try to separate the fear from the facts, and I understand this fear, but the city has the right, and I built it into the agreement that the city has the right to do a peer review. Now, on top of that, our guests that were here just a couple of weeks ago, was it last week or the week before? I don't remember. 2 weeks ago. The whole project has to go to MEPA review. It's a big project. It's what Walmart had to do. There are a number of projects in the city that had to go for a MEPA review. That goes to all the state agencies, and they review it. And they come back with comments. They may find in the middle of the project, there's just no way that this project is going to happen. Oh, by the way, nobody, when we're talking about doing the ball fields, nobody was worried about anything discharging into the Nashua River. Nobody. You watch it. I'll give you plenty of notice. I don't know if you want to show it on cable, if you want to get involved in that or not, but I think people have a right to see it. And if not, I'll show it. I'll show it on Facebook or something, on my morning briefing or whatever. I don't have a problem. But I think people have a right to see it. Nobody objected to this. Not one city councilor. Nobody was worried about what was going to, end up in the Nashua River. Everything was being done correctly to the environment. It was going to have oversight. All the experts were going to look at it. No different than it is today. So that's it in a nutshell. I hope it helps you to reach for the correct information. But it is upsetting to think that someone who you can't talk to, who no one knows who it is hiding behind a website with misinformation in it, where they have the right to twist everything around, leads you to that website because you're against it or you're looking for information, and you find this information and think it's the truth, when in fact it's not. 978-534-1626. We did what? 35 minutes of this, right? 35 minutes. You want to show a little journey home? I don't care. I can keep going. I don't have a problem with this. Yeah, let's do a clip of Journey Home.
And last person we have to speak is Dr. John Hogue, but before he comes up, I want everyone to understand the work that this man puts in. He's tireless. You've heard all the speakers say he just doesn't stop, and we wouldn't be here today without John, so thank you again.
I didn't build much of a speech because I knew other people were going to be carrying the weight and doing some speeches. And I know everyone is eager to go into the building and check it out because it's pretty impressive. But I just want to thank everyone that has helped with this, with funding, with zoning, with everything, the city hall, even neighboring cities have been a support of this project because we're all one people, right? We're all families and families and families. And that's what this is about, and that's what drives me, is to do the right thing for families. Not that I knew how to do it, but I figured it out. So thank you for your help heading down that road. It's been a long road, as you all know. We've said it several times, 7 or 8 years. When we hit roadblocks, we just figure it out, how to go around it or over it or through it.
So Journey Home is a effort taken on by the Interfaith, Montechusett Interfaith Hospitality Group. It started off as a group of mostly churches, and they would take homeless families and they would stay in a church hall and for a week, and then they'd get fed. Everybody would take turns, and they moved to another church. In the meantime, during the day, they would be out looking for jobs and apartments and trying to save money, whatever. But they'd have a roof over their head. And then it just became, hey, we're putting people in a building where there's no fire system, and some of the church halls were not in compliance. So the next big step was we've got to get our own facility, and then it turned into North Star Services, which was a place where they could take up to 5, maybe 6 families and get them on their feet, help them with training, literacy training, help them find a job, get back on their feet, maybe pay down some debt, get their credit repaired, have a roof over their head for the kids, right? So they have a safe place where they could put their head down every night, and then work with them to get an apartment, et cetera. Well, the next step after that was, well, it's hard enough to get an apartment today, but once they're through the program, there's no place to go. So this was sort of the next step. And it's absolutely a huge team effort from everyone involved. And there was a tent set up today, and everybody under that tent and everybody that was there somehow or another had some involvement in getting this project done. It's absolutely right off my cellar, absolutely well done. It's going to help so many families, and it's on the public transportation system. It's walkable to a lot of things that are down there in North Leominster. So very happy. And these are tough projects, funding-wise. None of the funding comes from one place. There's just so much bureaucracy to get through. But today the project is complete, and it was a day of celebration on a positive note. So there you go. All right. So what are we doing tonight?
All right. So.
Get your microphone. Get your
I'm
microphone.
grabbing my mic.
There you go.
So last year,
yes,
you did summer ice cream treats where we looked at some classics, but these are all new. There's only 2 classics here. There's the classic Snickers ice cream bar, which is in the middle, and your favorite from last year, the Hoodsie, but everything else is brand new.
I hear that the Dole Whip. So David LaPlante, who's our treasurer, he still works part-time.
Yep.
When he goes, he's been to a number of different cruises, and he said one day he happened to across like an ice cream stand, and there was a line. So he gets up there and he says, hey, what's everybody getting? And he says, this Dole Whip.
Because it's the #1 treat at Disney World.
And he said, I got to try it. And he's been hooked ever since. I've yet to try it. Well, I need to let it melt a little.
Yeah.
So am I supposed to add this to these things, or these are separate?
It's separate. So that's the new dark chocolate Snickers ice cream bar. It's like
that's good.
triple chocolate. And then the classic Snickers ice cream bar is right next to the Hoodsie cup. The middle
This
there.
one?
Yep.
Oh, that's good. Is that vanilla inside?
Caramel.
Oh, man. How could they do that? It actually tastes a lot alike.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So
That's about 9,000 calories, but it's good.
the 2 newest ones, yellow is Butterfinger, which they actually released that years ago in the 90s, and they're re-releasing it.
So these are all frozen
They're all ice cream.
ice creams.
It's all ice cream.
Oh, that's good. But the ice cream aisle must be getting bigger and bigger all the time.
Yeah, Val said that's her favorite.
Who said that?
Val.
All right, let me see. These other two were really good.
It's like a butter crunch.
Butter crunch, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Now the one I
I
think
agree, that's my favorite so
that's
far.
probably going to be my favorite too. But
Is this $1 million bar?
100 grand.
What's all? 100 grand's nothing today. All right, here we go.
Just caramel Nestle Crunch and caramel ice cream.
Oh, that's good too.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's tough. They're all good.
But your favorite from last year is the Hoodsie. So is that going to hold up? That one should be melty.
This one's melting.
Yeah.
No,
Doesn't hold up?
no.
And then
All of those were better.
so we have Nestle Toll House was the #1 selling ice cream bar with their Chip Witch. They now introduced the Mini, which is 2 Nestle
Do
Toll
you
House.
realize this is like 1 million calories?
I cut it so that it's not going to be that much for you. And that one little one is only 300 calories.
Oh, that's all. Not real excited about that one.
Yeah, I was surprised too that was the #1 selling ice cream sandwich bar. Over
It
the
also
Oreo.
might not have as much sugar in it.
Oh, it definitely does.
It does.
Yeah.
All right, let's try this
Dole Whip.
Dole Whip. There's enough I can get out of him. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
But I think it's a different category. It's refreshing, and it's good, but it's not this.
So
These frozen ice cream bars are no comparison for a multitude of tastes.
that's called a dairy treat because it doesn't have ice cream. It has soft serve, and soft serve is not considered ice cream.
I would say it's definitely refreshing, but a different kind of, more of a healthy.
Yeah.
But if you're going for the zang, I would say these frozen bars by far are better. Now this is like a hot day like today, and it's, imagine this, what's
It
the
reminded me
consistency?
of Italian ice.
Oh, so that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's not like soft serve.
So the ones in the cups, no. The ones at the ice cream stand, yes. 2 different forms of it.
Well, I think the $100,000 bar, whatever it is,
100 grand. That's your favorite?
any one of these is good. I think the Hoodsie is airy. It's still good. It's like, you know, the traditional. But, and the same thing with the cookie here. It's good, but it's okay. It's creamy, it's cold, it's got chocolate chip cookie, but this is a blend of, it's like fireworks. It's caramel and nuts, chocolate and ice cream inside. That's hard to beat.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't eat too many of those.
Well, next year we're going to have to try something different. They're going to introduce something new every year.
So you're saying these frozen, what we used to do when we were kids is get a Musketeer or a Milky Way
Charleston Chew.
and just put it in the freezer.
Yep.
And that's what they did here.
Yeah.
But they added some ice cream.
Yeah.
Right.
That's exactly what they did.
Well, that's my opinion. I don't know. I like it. One of them says 100% real ice cream. Well, you know why they say that? Because there's these ice creams. It was really hot last year, and I had to do like a transfer. I had to have somebody leave me off so somebody else can pick me up and go another direction. So I was at that, it's in Littleton. There's a little gas station near the Littleton High School. I said, leave me off here. I'll run inside. And I got something like an ice cream that you pull out of one of those chests. So I went outside. And it was one of those days, it was like literally anywhere from 90 to 95. It was hot. And the ice cream didn't melt. It just kind of sat there. And I'm like, because I like it when it melts because it gets nice and creamy.
Yeah.
That's hot ice cream I don't like. You can't really like let it kind of float around your mouth. And when it's soft, oh, it's a totally different experience. I like to eat it as it melts. And this stuff wasn't melting.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what is this stuff if it doesn't melt? What the heck is in it?
Non-dairy product.
Right. So I'm like, well, this wasn't fun, you know, because it just kind of stayed frozen or cold. And
Yep.
Anyway, that's what's popping.
Well, we got Pop Goes the Culture, too, for you.
All right, let's do it. Do we have pictures of the week?
Yeah.
Oh, we do. Well, I got to get hopping. Let me just tell you that tomorrow night is the Relay for Life, and that's to support cancer. It's a 2-day event. We did the Light to Town Purple not too long ago, but tomorrow night is the official night, and it starts at 6 o'clock. And if you're a person that has in recovery or you've survived cancer, there's a survivor's loop, they call it, and you're welcome to come up and attend. There are a lot of ways that you can help support, and all the money that they raise goes towards research and cancer organizations. And it's a wonderful night. It's going to be a beautiful night. You'll be moved by the Survivors Walk. And there's so many things that go on in those 2 days. You can get up at 3 in the morning and decide you're going to go walk a couple loops up there and to support their efforts. So that I need to tell you. A household hazardous waste day is 9 to 12, and that's on Saturday at the DPW. You don't have to pre-register or anything. And then, so that you get this on your calendar, June 21st is the French-Canadian Festival. And that's 3 to 8 o'clock, and that's going to be at, not Shoalin, Eagles, at the Eagles. And then Pink Flamingo Day is June 23rd, and then we had the Denver, Colorado on the 26th to the 29th for the All-American City. And let's see, August 2nd is the Italian Fest, August 9th is Starburst, Prospect Park Hike is the 12th, and National Night Out. I don't know why, they keep erasing it. I keep writing it in here. I don't know what they're doing with it. So that's what's happening. Our water parks are open, so today, tomorrow, it's going to be hot. Weekend cools off a little bit. Monday's a little cool, but then it kicks right back up. So look at that. I even gave you your weather. Let's do some slides for the week and tell you that as of today, there's 446 people that tested positive for COVID in the last 7 days here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. 5 cases here in Leominster, 2 deaths, 1 is too many. It's Democracy Day, National Great Dane Day, National Peanut Butter Cookie Day, Raggedy Ann and Andy Day, Superman Day. 1954, Billie Holiday and the Comets released a single, Rock Around the Clock, remember? Dun, 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 dun. 1964, Nelson Mandela was sentenced to life in prison in South Africa. And unfortunately, 1965, Sonny and Cher make their last TV appearance. 1970, rocker and blues singer Janis Joplin debuts in Kentucky. And in 1990, Mariah Carey puts out her album called
Mariah Carey.
2017, Forbes releases the top highest paid entertainment list. And it was Sean Puffy Diddy Coombs, who's in a lot of trouble right now. He made $130 million. How do you do this? Like, how do you ruin your life? How do you just do crazy things when you're on the Forbes top 100 list? And in 2024, Governor Ron DeSantis declares a state of emergency in southern Florida after a torrential rainstorm. Pictures of the week, here we go. Johnny Appleseed school visit, that's always fun. Yeah. Historic Commission takes them, they go to the library, they go to the police station, the fire station, City Hall, Historic Society. And the pavilion's taking shape. This is that new pavilion. You know, we have a great facility down in Mechanic and Laurel Street next to St. Cecilia's, but there's not a lot of shade. So the DPW, Wire Department, are down there putting this thing up themselves. Imagine that.
Yeah, I was wondering what that was.
It's great. It's beautiful down there. And District 8 dive team, including Leominster Fire at Wachusett Reservoir, doing some training. They also went to Rockwell Pond because we have a fountain there, and the weeds and stuff keep getting caught up in the fountain. Technical review process on several projects. That's when all the different departments and different inspections folks come in and we look at a project. We're more there to try to help out, to give them the heads up on something if they don't know about it. Let's just say there's an old water line, and we're like, hey, there's an old water line in that street, just so you know. Or there's an old grease trap that's out there that's probably going to have to be replaced. It's not a beat up people come in, it's just give them the heads up. And on behalf of the Gas Bar Sports Grill and the entire Boucher family, they want to thank everybody. They raised like $52,000 for this walk and run, and what an event it was. An absolute moving event it was. And fun at the stroll, you want to talk about fun at the stroll. Did you guys have fun at the stroll?
Yeah.
It was great. The only hard part is picking my favorite car kind of thing. You know what I mean? And we had a ball. It was good weather. We had to postpone it a day. And there's our little private, not a lot of people know, in front of Caldwell Brokers downtown and near the woodblock is a little water park. You press the button, and the thing just keeps moving it like different, and then it dies down, and then it all of a sudden jumps up again. Kids were like, yeah, I'm not going to bring a bathing suit. I'm just jumping in. Breakdancing in the making. Look at those little kids were breakdancing. It was so fun. St. Anna's preschool graduation, we got a chance to get on there. It was priceless. Priceless. And then Keystone Collaborative graduation we hosted at City Hall. Do you know they broke down and set up City Hall 5 times in 1 week?
Yeah.
Because we have City on the Hill, and it's doing that play, and they have 2 more appearances on 13th and 14th. And this is the Trials of Oscar Wilde. It's free. It's free. It's excellent. Excellent. Good to see everybody at the Disabled Veterans Conference. We did that on, I forget what day. A good job by the Leominster Fire Department of surrounding towns. We had this giant Is that the last slide?
Yeah,
Okay.
he cuts away.
That's all right.
Yeah.
And giant fire down there that was a bunch of tree stumps and brush, and the thing still might be burning, but excellent job. Tremendous coordination. All right.
We got some pop culture.
Let's do some pop culture. You guys ready? Pop goes the culture. Let's see how we're doing.
So this is, all these modern movies
Right.
are based on classic works of literature. Can you put them together?
I would say The Matrix is the Odyssey.
You gotta guess all of them.
Clueless is, Brother, Where Are You? I would say is Alice in the Wonderland. Zero Effect is probably EMMA.
Emma?
Emma? Am I right on any of these?
Nope.
None of them? Okay. Well, what's the answers?
Okay, let's go to the next slide. So, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is the
Is
Odyssey. Zero Effect is Sherlock Holmes.
Oh.
Clueless.
Matrix is Alice in Wonderland?
Yep.
Okay.
Because he goes through the rabbit hole.
All right, I got none. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I've seen them both. I've seen most of these.
We made sure that these were all 90s and early 2000s movies.
No, I flunked. Next slide. Disney and Universal sue AI company over use of copyright characters like Spider-Man, Darth Vader, and Homer Simpson. Jason Gunn confirms Wonder Woman. And what is the question here?
In the DC universe. This is the news. This is the rumor bill.
Okay.
So, next slide, please.
Non-news, indie publisher.
IDW.
IDW is making a Twilight Zone.
Comic book series, yeah.
I think it'll be good.
I think so,
it'll be
too.
a hit.
My favorite
Anthology
series.
of comic series, and then live action How to Train Your Dragon movie releases tomorrow.
It's actually tonight at midnight it comes out.
I suspect that'll do well.
I think so, too.
I think both of those will do well. Is that it?
That's it.
That's it? Piece of cake?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. We didn't have a guest, but you're a guest. And I don't know. I just want to make sure that people understand this thing. It's obviously there's a financial advantage for the city. There are some recreational advantages to the city, sort of the use of the facility after. There are people that don't like gaming. They think it's, a bad thing. Get it. There are neighbors that are concerned. Get it. Obviously, they should be. It's their front yard and their backyard. Facts. That's it. You always want people to make an intelligent decision based on the facts. And if we walk away from this, then we know what we walked away from, right? I mean, that's, in essence, we walked away from it, and if you walk away from 1.3 million plus the multipliers that are in there, and you do so and you walk away from it, then you walked away from it, right? At least you knew you were walking away from it. Worst thing is to have people, 3 years from now say, I didn't realize that. Geez, I didn't know that, right? That's the worst part. So anyway, a lot going on this weekend, as there is. It's going to be Flag Day on Saturday. It's the 250th anniversary of the Army. Imagine the first Army, or militia, was right here in Massachusetts, really, in the shot heard around the world in the battle in Concord and Lexington and Arlington and Boston and the whole Freedom Trail and, right? I mean, right here. There were people from Leominster that were part of that, and then obviously the war that happened after that. 250th. So all who are in the Army, this is your celebration, 250th. Amazing. And they're going to have a parade, and I salute you. And it's a big thing, right? It's a big thing, 250 years. We're only 250 years. We're a young country. So Father's Day on Saturday. So happy
Sunday. Father's
Day on Sunday. I'm sorry. I think fathers feel like me, like it's every day is Father's Day. Really. We get treated pretty good. Would you agree? We get treated pretty good. We don't need a special day or anything, but hey, since there is one, that's okay too.
Yeah.
We're out of time here at Inside Leominster, and next week is also a busy week. The 23rd, there'll be a public hearing in front of the City Council. I think after that, what I'm told is they may vote on this. I think it's most important at this particular time, let's get a vote, because it's just gone on too long. It's gone on since February, and there's been ample time to, if the city was going to hire people, and the council was going to hire people, and you're going to hire people to look at this and do a review, and have some other companies come in and look at it from our vantage point. I think that ship has sailed, and now it's just, I think at this point, in the best interest of the city to vote on this. And I think anything anybody was going to find out about this project should have been found out, right? It's like, okay, it's, this information has been out there, and so hopefully, and then we can move on. All right. Thanks for watching Inside Leominster. Good night. God bless you. Remember, the world is run by those who show up. Thanks for showing up. Good night.
Inside Leominster is brought to you in part through the generous support of N.P. Crowley Company Incorporated and by DeCarolis Insurance Agency Incorporated, DeCarolisInsuranceAgency.com, and by Enterprise Bank. Enterprise Bank creates success. EnterpriseBanking.com.
This is LTV.